Yes, my people, and for gold, right now, if you go onto our 1 hour chart, you can clearly see that price is bullish, base of SMA, base of structure, all of that. If you go to our 5 minute, we can also see that price is also bullish. So in this case here, we've come from this low here to that high. We don't quite tap the 618. However, we do have SBS. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Price played around with the 200 SMA. We kind of reacted off it nicely, and obviously you can see how price has now shot up. Again, someone might say that it was an area of support and resistance. So, because if I scroll out, obviously because we are at all-time highs, there's not enough data on it. However, we can clearly see how price has respected that area of support, and obviously it has now continued higher. Someone else also might say that prices wanted to come back down to sweep London low. As you guys can see here, prices now set London low. So now we've set a liquidity level. We've tapped into a area of interest, which is basically SPS model 1. We have tapped into an area of support and resistance. We had our SBS. So in terms of everything that we want, we basically got that with our with this. So now when we get out the way and we go to our minute chart, all we're gonna do is just follow what price is doing. So we've just gotten above the SMA based off our 1 minute time frame. So now all I'm gonna do is just wait. Ideally, I would like for price to take out this high, and in that way I can draw a new zone, because we are basically at the top. And yeah, so now we've taken out that high, which is called a market structure break or break of structure. Some of you might know it. So now this is my new zone, and technically we should have bounced from this area here, which was the SNDR. However, this SNDR failed to make a new high, so we're gonna come back down to the unmitigated move origin. It's the same things that we look for over and over again. When I go down to my lower time frame, if I just let price play out, so price taps the unmitigated move origin, but we are below our SMAs. So we just gotta wait and see what price does. And price completely disrespects it. So can you see how the SMA has saved us from trying to take a potential I wouldn't say bad trade, but can you see how the SMA stopped us from taking that trade? We was at a red traffic light, and the SMA's never turned green. The traffic light never turned green. So without the green light, we can't go. And this is the same situation. So all I know now is that we have a bigger time from SBS, where this is my 1, this is my 2, this is my 3, this is the 4, this is potentially the 5. We are also now below the SMAs. So if I drop my fib again from this low to this high, we have now officially tapped the 618, or we did before initially, and we did actually take out that high. But now we have this unmitigated zone here where price hasn't tapped into. So there's always a likelihood that price might want to tap into this and continue higher, but we have to get above the SMA, because technically if this was an MSB, then this is an MSS after we've taken out this low. So we've got to be wary. We've got to understand when prices are MSB and when prices are not. And if you look at our RSI divergence, can you see how this candle is lower, but this candle is higher? So I already know that this was a fake MSB. So a lot of people would have had their protected low there. They've now been stopped out. But because I understand that from my RSI, my relative strength index, it showed me that there was no strength within this market structure break, and that this was a false market structure break. So me even trying to draw out a MSB there, technically this wouldn't make sense because it's not a strong MSB. Hence why this low got taken out straight away. But when we let price play out, so we've now gotten above the SMA based off my 5 minute time frame. So if you just head back down to our 1 minute time frame and we see what has gone on, we have actually, let me just mark that out as a sweep. We have actually taken out this low and then we took out this high. We've now just gotten above the SMA, so it'll be interesting to see what happens now. And okay, so I've gone way past my trading time, by the way, but let's just see what happens. I mean, there was SBS model 1 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Only thing stopping me from taking this trade is the SMAs. I mean, I could go to my lower time frame. I know my lower time frame, you are below. So would I have been able to take this? Probably not. However, we have now closed above this high here. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens now. When we let price play out, we come back, tap in. So now, if I'm looking at structure, we've tapped into an area of interest, which is this SNDR. Technically, I need price to take out this high here. It's quite hard to see, but this was my last high, low, high, lower, low, high. So, you know, technically that's the high that price needs to take out. If I had the second shots available on my trading view, which I don't, sorry. And okay, so we have taken out that high internally. Actually, no, let me do this. So we have taken out that high internally, like I said. So now, what do we end up doing? Ended up tapping in this area of supply and demand. And even if I drop my fib from this low to this high, we don't quite tap the 618, but we do tap the. No, we don't even tap the 50%, but we do tap the 0.3 level. But that's where the SNDR is. I mean, we have SBS in this section here as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it really depends on you, depending on how you want to take this trade. I mean, this technically is an IB. I mean, it's not. Let me just double check something. We haven't saw anything significant from what I see. No, we haven't saw anything significant. Check that 1 minute. Yeah, so we haven't really saw anything significant. My low time from SMAs are not really actually intact with it. So me taking this trade potentially, it wouldn't have happened. And if I just let price play out, yeah, so price actually ends up shooting higher. We kind of had that double bottom, but it was, I mean, it wasn't the best trade, but it was a decent trade, you know. If based off structure, based off SMAs, it did make sense. And you can see how price ended up taking out this internal high, but then also we've also taken out the exterior high. So yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't the best. But that's the trade that I would have personally taken. Again, I've gone way past my trading time, so this would have been technically within Asia. But you guys can see how, if you just scroll out, price is bullish, so I should be looking for longs. Essentially, when I went down to my 5-minute time frame, as I explained before, this MSB is not a real MSB. It's a fake MSB. So once we stepped at this low, we tapped into this to get a move origin. Again, we are below the SMA, so I wouldn't have been able to take this trade. And technically, if I just mark out my stuff quickly just before I head out, that was a flip. I mean, not a flip, but then we end up taking out this high internally, and then we ended up taking out this high here. So technically we can take a trade from that external flip, internal flip. We tapped into this SNDR. I mean, this one here, I'll just remove it because we wouldn't have been able to take a trade based off the SMAs. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What did we end up doing? Ended up tapping into SNDR. And obviously price is now taking out our previous higher high. If I drop my fib from this low to this high, again, we don't quite tap the, what's it called? We don't quite tap the 618, but we did tap the 50%, as you guys can see right there. we ended up tapping the 50%. And then obviously it was enough for price, you know, to make its way back higher. And let's say you wasn't happy with that. When you went down to the lower time frame, as I said before, if we're looking at things from a structural point of view, remember, if we was previously trading between this low, because it's the protected low, and this high, because it's the weak high, everything inside of just internal structure. So internally, what did we do? We made a high, a low, a lower high, a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, failed to make a new lower low. So technically we need to take out this high here, because this internally, if I had my 5-second chart, this will be a protected low, a protected high. We ended up taking out that protected high. We pulled back, making a new higher low, and we made a higher high. But within that, what happened? We tapped into this area of supply and demand, but above our SMA, the 200 SMA at least. And you can see how price pushes up and takes out our previous higher high, which is our number 3 internally. And we also take out our external high, number 3. So technically this was an A-star trade, because we had all the variables in what we wanted. We had proper liquidity, because remember the 2 is the lowest point between our 1 and 3, but this was a proper liquidity because we understood that this was an RSI divergence, and this was not a real market structure break. As you guys can see here, it was not a real one. So that was the first indication that once you sweep this low, this is a good point of liquidity. Tap that unmitigated zone below the SMAs, but you know, we slowly got above. We went down to a lower time frame to look for extra confirmation. We got all of that, and obviously we was able to now capitalize on a winning trade. I don't want to make this video too long, but always remember that victory belongs to the most tenacious. Wherever you guys are in the world, I'm wishing you guys a good morning, a good afternoon, a good evening, and a good night. And I'll see you lots tomorrow. Peace and ciao. And love, my people. Ciao.